It has been 476 days since I confronted her about it. How do I know? Because every time I catch myself thinking about it, I tell myself, it's only been X days, maybe you won't think about it tomorrow. So, to go back to the beginning, I, 30M, had just taken on a new project and new responsibilities at work. I was working a lot of hours and was noticeably stressed. It was in May of 2015 that I noticed she, 29F, had added a password to her phone. When confronted about it, she told me it was because she was planning my Father's Day present and didn't want me to ruin the surprise. About a week later, she came to me and told me that she felt guilty keeping a big secret from me and said she was having our neighbor, 51M, a contractor, build a home office for me as my present. It struck me as odd because in our 6 years together, she has never said she felt guilty about anything and always insists that she never regrets anything in her life. Time goes on, her phone is still password protected, and things don't feel right. I see her using her phone and smiling to herself more and more often. However, when I ask her what she's doing, she says nothing and puts her phone away. So one morning, I wait for her to get in the shower and grab her phone before it requires the password. I go through her messages and find that she's texting the neighbor, I'm all covered in frosting, you wanna lick it off? There were no other messages to the neighbor, but I found out later that was because she had set up her phone to delete messages after a certain amount of time. I felt uncomfortable with it, but I knew she had a twisted sense of humor, and I thought she would never do anything to hurt me. More time goes by, and the neighbor is spending increasing amounts of time at our house, but the office is being completed at a slower pace. I can't help but worry that something isn't right, so I start checking her location using Google Timeline. It's at this point that I realize there are significant gaps in her GPS history because she was turning off her phone's GPS. Fast forward to July, and at this point, the paranoia is driving me nuts. So, I tell her that I need to install a new antivirus on her phone. While she has it unlocked for me, I install anti-theft software so I can remotely turn the GPS back on. I also set up AT&T message backup and restore so I can read all of her text messages from that point on my computer. The next day, my mother asks to spend time with my 2 kids, so my wife drops them off with her and has the day to herself. I watch my wife's activity from work as she spends the day trying to meet up with a neighbor, but is unsuccessful because he's busy with another job site. That night, we get the kids back from my mom's house, and we go out to dinner with the neighbor, his girlfriend, and his son. My wife and his girlfriend are having a good time, drinking, laughing, and just joking around. His girlfriend mentions that she would like to see a movie. I suggest it's a good idea, and I'll watch the kids so my wife and her can go. So, my wife and her friend go, and the neighbor and I go back to my house so the kids can play video games together. The kids are back in my son's room playing games, and the neighbor is sitting across from me on the other couch. It's at this point that my wife starts texting him. She's describing intimate acts she would like to perform with him, and he's reciprocating. They keep talking, trying to figure out when they can meet up and have intimacy, and they decide on Monday morning after I go to work. So, in my head, I had already planned to pretend to leave and circle back to catch them. But then they tell each other that they love each other, and it's taking all I have to not leap off the couch and sock him right there. However, I contain myself and continue reading the conversation unfolding in front of me. Then he tells her, "You're my girl now," to which she replies, "Always have been," ending with him writing, "and always will be." My wife and the neighbor's girlfriend return from the movie, and I politely ask them to sit down. Then, I instruct the kids to stay in my son's room and shut the door. Returning to the living room, I confront my wife and the neighbor, saying, "So, you two love each other, huh?" My wife enters full-blown denial mode, and the neighbor's girlfriend starts smacking him. I ask if my wife has been texting him. She denies it. I then show her the text messages, and she admits to it, but claims it was the first time it had gone that far. Continuing, I ask if she has sent him pictures. She denies it. However, upon showing her pictures, she admits again, but insists it was the first time as well. Then I ask about intimacy, and she denies it. Since I didn't wait to catch them in the act, I lacked evidence to prove her wrong, leaving that aspect unresolved. I tell her that I'm leaving her. She responds by stating that she will make sure I never see my kids again if I do. She plans on using the fact that I attempted to delete myself in high school to prove me unfit to have the children. She continues, blaming me for being too busy with work and stressed out, asserting that she just wanted someone she could talk to. Then, she gives me an ultimatum to decide what I'm going to do, or she will decide for me. The neighbor's girlfriend starts defending the two of them, stating that it couldn't have been serious if they weren't having intimacy, and that my wife and I are too perfect together to let this break us up. The neighbors go home, and my wife and I argue for the rest of the night about what we are going to do. We go to bed separately, having not resolved anything. We keep going back and forth on the subject all weekend and finally settle on separating temporarily while we figure out what we want. I'm going to stay in the house, and she's going to take the kids and go to her mom's house. On that Monday, I go to work and receive a text from her in the middle of a meeting with my bosses, stating that she had explained things to our kids, but they were upset, and I need to explain it to them as well. I get home from work to find my kids crying. She had told them that mommy had to move out because dad was mad at her. When my son wanted to stay with me, she told him that he can't. My son put it together that if mommy has to move out because I'm mad at her, and he must move out as well, then I must have been mad at him too. My daughter was crying because my son was. I don't think she was old enough to understand what was happening. It was at that moment I realized she was going to drag the kids through hell if I left her, so I swallowed my feelings and begged her to stay. She agreed and insisted that I apologize to our neighbors since we were still going to need to hang out with them because our sons are good friends. I hated it, but I did it anyway. We still hang out with them from time to time, and they come to our various birthday and holiday parties. But I do anything for my kids, and I behave civilly every time. Things toned down for a while, but I still think about it constantly. I worry about how I can keep from making her so unhappy that she cheats on me again. Then, almost a year from the original incident, around Father's Day again, she sends him pictures again. She claims it was an accident and that she meant to send them to me instead. I don't fully believe her, but I move on anyway. Things have been quiet on that front for about 4 months now, but I still think about it constantly. This might sound stupid, but I feel like I have a part of my brain that I can't shut off, always thinking. I used to use that to solve programming problems, and it made me very good at my job. However, ever since this incident, the only thing it thinks about is her and him and whether I did the right thing. My job performance has suffered, and I feel like I haven't gotten sleep in months. I'm afraid that after this much time and the fact that I begged her back, saying that I want a divorce now would only make her more vindictive towards my children and me. I just feel like I have put myself so deep in a pit that I can never get back out. I haven't really talked to anyone about this. I didn't want to talk to my mom about it because I felt she would treat my wife differently, and I didn't need the two fighting any more than they already do. I tried talking to one friend about it, but his advice was to put my trust in God, which was not much solace for me as I'm an atheist. So, I have no clue what to do with my feelings or how to move on from this. Update 1. Hi everyone, Scaling Stories here. This is an excerpt from a news article on November 17, 2016 after OP decided to file for divorce. A Montgomery County mother was charged Friday with 2 counts of unalive after police say she admitted to unaliving her 2 young children. According to the probable cause affidavit, Brandy Worley told police that her husband was divorcing her and, I did not want him taking them, so I bleeped them. I just wanted to unalive with them. She told the 911 operator, I just bleeped myself and unalived my 2 children. She also admitted to unaliving them to a sheriff's deputy on the scene, according to Montgomery County Sheriff Mark Castile. Update 2. I guess the first question to answer is how am I doing? And to that, I would say I'm doing well. I have bad days, but I think that's to be expected. It's just important that I, or anyone going through something, continue to use the support of friends and family, as well as good coping skills, to not let myself be completely defeated on those bad days. I won't lie, I struggle to get back to where I am. For some time, I refused to sleep because of a combination of fear of what I would wake up to and nightmares about that night. For a while, I drank to sleep, but my family loved me enough to take it from me before it became a damaging and permanent habit. I was hospitalized because I did have thoughts of deleting myself due to missing my children so much. From that, I learned that you should never be ashamed of your mental health, and not seeking treatment will only make it worse, not better. We have all heard it, but if you or a loved one is struggling, seek immediate assistance. Your life is too important to throw away in a moment of weakness. By putting off treatment, I only caused everything else in my life to suffer. I lost my job and became reclusive in the house. But don't worry, I have been back to work since December and have nearly regained my former position and salary, so I'm good and require no assistance. The second question would be how I feel about the sentencing. That's something that's harder to answer because, no matter what the sentence, nothing will bring back my beloved children. Do I think she should have gotten the deletion penalty? No, I do not. She wanted to unalive, and after 9 years of giving her what she wanted when she wanted it, I was not going to give her another thing. Do I think the life sentence will have any appreciable effect on her? I don't know. One thing she always stressed for the entire time that I knew her was that she lived her life without any regrets. Even after I caught her cheating on me, she continued to say she had no regrets. If I can impart something I have learned through all of this, it's that you should always take the time to be with the ones you love. It doesn't matter if they are asking you to read The Pokey Little Puppy for the millionth time, or asking you to play Smash Brothers even though you both know they will wipe the floor with you every time. Just do it because you never know when the last time will be. Always make sure they know how much you love them. I had the fortune that the last thing my children ever heard me say was, I love you, good night. I will see you in the morning.